hey, we got to go to Great Stirrup Cay. But stay to the end of the video to understand why you may not get to go.
Welcome to our channel, Tim and Kate's Excellent Adventures Cruise Edition.
Today we're going to talk about Great Stirrup Cay. We're going to talk about tendering off of the Norwegian Encore, and we're going to talk about NCL's own private island called Great Stirrup Cay. We're going to talk about how it's morphed over the centuries, what it was in the past, what it is today. And we're going to talk about our experiences with snorkeling, dining, and even a drink or two. So stay with us. And at the end, we'll go ahead and go over why you may not have an opportunity to go to Great Stirrup Cay. So jumping right into it, a little bit of history. After Europeans had discovered the Bahamas, like most of the Caribbean islands, it was subject to piracy. And a lot of pirates would use Great Stirrup Cay as a launch point to divvy up what they had taken off of Spanish galleons. In between the pirate period and when the British had outlawed slavery, it was a sugar plantation. And then after that, the Confederacy used it as a way to trade cotton and sugar for armaments and other supplies that they needed in their war. And then shortly after that, it was a military outpost during World War II to basically be an early warning system for incoming German boats. And then after that, it was for satellite tracking. And then finally, now that we're into the 1970s, a petroleum company, I believe it was called Belcher Petroleum, had rights to explore for petroleum in Great Stirrup Cay, and they basically just used it as a corporate retreat. And the then CEO of Norwegian said, hey, you know what? We should bring cruise ships here and just let people hang out on the island. So they got a lease in 1977 and then bought it outright in 1986. And since then, Norwegian Cruise Line passengers have enjoyed what Great Stirrup Cay has to offer.
Which is a lot. And we definitely had a really great time there. But here are some little tips and just information really so that you are prepared for your time at Great Stirrup Cay.
So right away, fun fact, it's 288 acres. And for those of you who are Midwesterners like us, that's less than half a section. Right now on Great Stirrup Cay, the only way to get from the cruise ship to the island itself is by taking little tender boats. And
we're on the tender to
Great Stirrup Cay.
It's a little rocky. We'll show you the boat that's right next to it, our ship right next to us right now.
I looked at a map and they have 5 tender slips, and when we were there they were only using 3. Now, the tender boats hold about 300 people, and if they're only running 3 of them, that means that they're only moving 900 people at a time. And it's a good, what did you say, 6-7 minutes from the ship?
I would say.
So 15-minute round trip.
Yeah, and it was a fun ride to sit on it, and then it was kind of cool to see the ship as you're on the tender boat going to the island. It's like, oh wow, look how huge this, I mean, you can see it when you're at other ports, but it was just kind of cool to see it in the water, in that perspective. And one of the things that you do need to know that we didn't really know, and then we saw it in our little daily, is that you have to book a time for your tender. So like Tim said, not all of us on the ship are going to go all at the same time. So you have to choose your tender, and it's kind of first come, first serve when you're booking it. Now, we didn't know this. We knew that if you had an excursion, that you get to go right off the bat. Get off if you want to be the first one on the tender because of the excursion. You're able to do that. We thought, because we did book a clamshell, we did not think that that was a excursion. But it is. So don't do what we did.
and then take, number 12. No. Jump on number 3 if you can.
Yes, yes.
The way the tendering works, you gather in the main dining room, the Manhattan in this case, and you have a seat, and they basically count off 300 people. You arrive at your tender time, they count off 300 people, and you go into the boat, and the next group of 300 people are in line.
And how you know when it's your tender to go down to that dining room is they're going to be saying it over the speakers on the boat. So you're just going to listen for your tender time or where they call you, and that's when you head. They do not want you to be going down there if you say you're tender 12 and they're on tender 9. They're not going to be happy with you doing that. So just wait it out, go down when it is your tender time. And like we said, if you have a clamshell booked or an excursion, you can go right away and enjoy the island. So honestly, if we ever would go to their private island again and still doing the tenders, I would book the clamshell anyway, because we really enjoyed having that. But I would just tell you to either book an excursion or book a clamshell just so you can get off the boat faster.
We didn't just book a clamshell. We decided that it would be a great place to go snorkeling. And frankly, Great Stirrup Cay delivers. We're beginner snorkelers. We are not, we live in the Midwest, so our snorkeling options are limited to man-made lakes. And those are cloudy, and it's terrible snorkeling.
I don't think you're going to go snorkeling.
We only go snorkel when we're near a coast, and that's not as often as I'd like it to be. But anyways, when we do go snorkeling, we went in Great Stirrup Cay, and it was like swimming in an aquarium.
Yeah.
It was wonderful. The water was clear. There was a lot of fish. There's coral towards the end of it. They even have a snorkeling sculpture garden that you can go in and explore. They had a number of items placed in the bottom, so you can go and take a look at all of that. I treated it like a museum. Take only pictures, leave only, flipper prints, because I didn't really leave footprints. I will say that the snorkeling gear that they had was it was adequate, but it was used. So, for example, the piece you bite down on in mine was non-existent, so
Right.
It was really difficult to keep it in place. So if you have your own snorkeling gear or you plan on snorkeling, please consider bringing your own. We did rent the snorkel gear, and I was happy to see when we returned the snorkel gear, they threw it right into some soapy water and started cleaning it right away. That gives me some assurances that they do take care of the snorkeling gear as best as they can. But like I said, it was well used. I'm pretty sure it's been there for a few seasons and had seen some wear. So.
Yeah. And we did buy some snorkeling, like kind of last minute. We were like, oh, we're going to get some. And it was supposed to arrive. But then we had like a snowstorm. So weather, of course, it didn't it arrived while we were in Miami. Mm-hmm. So that's why we rented. And like I said, it was great that we were able to rent. So if you do go and you ordered and it didn't show up, or you forgot, or you didn't think you were going to snorkel, and then you're like, hey, actually I do. They do have it, and it's quite easy to find and to get.
Right. Speaking of finding places, the bathrooms are all a unique green color, so you'll see those buildings throughout, and they're easy to spot. And if you're wondering where to find food or drinks, just look for a line of people.
Yes. And there were different places, like by where we were, like where the clamshells were for us, there was like a taco place, and that's where we ended up eating. I would say, especially if you are a tender later, like we were like, we're going to hurry up and like go do stuff like the snorkeling and all of that right away. Mm-hmm. I would suggest eating right away, because what, again, we didn't know is they start putting stuff away around like 3 o'clock. So we were actually pretty lucky to get the tacos that we did,
Right.
because when we were sitting there eating our tacos, they were cleaning up and putting things away. And there is like a buffet as well. There's all sorts of food, but I would just say, like, if you're getting there around 12:30, 1 o'clock, definitely eat, and then explore.
Definitely explore. Go check out everything that the island has to offer. Just because we did the snorkeling doesn't mean that's what you should do. There are excursions for ziplining if that's what you're into, and they also have wave runner rentals, and I believe that's just a tour around the island. I don't know that you're able to just go wherever with the wave runner, because that might be a liability issue. But
yeah, and they also have like swimming with the pigs.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about
at
that.
at that one too. So there are some different type of excursions, and there was like music. We could hear the music, like bands and stuff were playing. We didn't go check it out, but we could hear it.
We could hear it, and if we would have gotten there earlier, we probably would have.
Yeah.
If we had eaten first and then maybe checked out the bands and then gone snorkeling, we might have had that opportunity.
Yeah.
And I would like to point out that just like Norwegian offers the Haven for customers who want that experience, on Great Stirrup Cay they have what's called Silver Cove. We didn't enjoy Silver Cove the way other people may have enjoyed Silver Cove, but if you're into being pampered on a private island, then they have that as well. They have villas, cabanas, and I believe some ships actually do port and stay the night. So if you wanted to stay the night on Great Stirrup Cay, that's also available, I believe. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, and I would feel like those villas and stuff, if you have a large group, I definitely think it would be worth the money. And if you have little kids who need like maybe a spot to like lay down or just get out of the sun or anything like that, definitely. And again, you would be able to get off of that ship right away if you booked that. So that's another incentive as well. And, you know, talking about the Haven, we were getting in line for our, to get back on to tenders. And that's when there were times where I was like, ooh, we should have done the Haven. But that was another time where we were like, we should do the Haven, because there was people walking around with signs saying Haven guests, I think. So you would basically not have to wait in line. You would just get to go and get right onto a boat.
You would have priority boarding, and the Haven guests get that everywhere. When you arrive back to the ship from ports of call, that's also available.
And I'm guessing that Haven guests get to just get off right away.
I believe so.
Yeah.
You get priority tender on the Haven, even if you didn't book an excursion. But I mean, if you're in the Haven, you might as well book an excursion while you're there too.
Right.
We got to enjoy Great Stirrup Cay. However, there is a situation. There is a scenario where you may not get to enjoy Great Stirrup Cay, and that's because there might be a lot of wind and high waves. When we were tendering on and off, they had employees of the ship helping you on and off the tender, and we saw why. The tender boat was being up and down. The boat, the ship is very heavy. The tender is very light. So if the waves are high enough, you could very well get injured boarding the tender on the ramp, because they had a pad affixed to the top of the entryway for us.
Yeah.
And our waves weren't that bad.
And they were saying like, watch your head as you were like getting on and off. And it is definitely like there were times where we were standing to get off of the boat. I didn't notice it as much when we were getting on the boat, but when we were getting off, it was very like the waves were pretty harsh, and I was like hanging on to him, and I was like, okay, I need to hang on to something because I'm gonna totally just fall over.
Right.
So there are handicap accessible seating like right next to where you would get off. So if you have any problems, even with your balance or anything like that, I would definitely say I need to sit closer, because I just have terrible balance, but no medical condition. But if you do, I would definitely say I need to sit here and then don't get up until you're literally going to get off the boat. And then just be very careful and mindful of your head because, yeah, it was pretty crazy.
And one other thing about tendering, when we were getting ready to leave, we got in line to get in the tenders, and the end of the line actually was at the gift shop by the lighthouse. So we stopped in and got a couple of T-shirts.
Oh yeah, we did.
Like, might as well. I mean,
we knew the line wasn't going to go super fast, so we knew we had time.
I mean, we have to tender by 4:00, but it's 3:55 and that line's there. They're not leaving us behind.
No. We did have some teenagers behind us that literally thought we were going to get left, and we were like, they're not going to leave us.
They're not going to leave us. And one of the things those teenagers said was, well, we didn't get out here until 2:00. And I think it's because they didn't book an excursion. So they were on the last tender boat in, and now they're getting on one of the last tender boats out. So they only had a short time on the island. So if you want a long time on the island, be sure to book an excursion.
And if that's just not something for you, like if you do not want to do tendering, if you don't want to worry about if you can get onto the island, I would say don't book a cruise with their private island, because if you're really looking forward to it and you can't go, it's just going to be a huge disappointment for you. Or if you thought you were going to get to go on the island at say 10 a.m. and you don't get to go on it till 2 p.m., again, it's going to be another disappointment. So I would, if that's a big deal to you, I would look at some of their other cruises.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
However, according to everything I've read, by the end of this year, they should have a dock that will allow them to dock 2 large cruise ships at the same time. So that way we don't have to worry about the tender boat situation. The boat just docks right up, just like it's going to Puerto Plata or to St. Thomas. And you just get off the boat and you walk on, and then you walk back off.
Yeah. So I would even look into that as well. Like if that's something like a make or break, see if, when you should book this trip so that you're going to get to be on the island for the majority of the day.
Right. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, click all the buttons. And if you'd like to sail on Norwegian or any other cruise line, we have a link to Expedia down in the description below. That is an affiliate link, which means that if you click that link and you make a purchase, we do get a small commission, and we do appreciate your support for this channel. Thank you.
Thank you. See you next time.